This is beyond stupid, right?
Hey everybody, welcome back to another wonderful edition of Conversation with me, Rick.
And me, not Naeem. Dennis.
And as you notice, we have a guest. Last week we did this, but at that time it was with me as the guest. Today our guest is this guy, Naeem, or Ian, as Danny would say for the first 3 years.
3 months.
Yeah, 3 months.
Yeah.
Ian. He was Ian, right? So, folks, the reason why we had Dennis here is because he actually took us out to breakfast that we had to pay for. So, just you know,
It's what I do. I'm a giver. I give. Right? You know?
He gave his time, so we paid him with food.
There you go.
So let's get to the the nitty gritty of your martial journey.
Yeah, I was totally against this to begin with.
Yeah, I know. Just like I was last week, you asshole.
Yeah, I know, but yours is more extensive. Like, my martial arts journey is literally 8 years and 7 months
Of hanging out with me and
of
Danny.
hanging out with you. The reason why I even got into martial arts was about 10 and a half years ago. I made the conscious decision to grow up.
Okay. So you were 48 when that happened.
48? Pretty much.
And I couldn't afford counseling. So I was like, damn it, I need something to take up my time. And a year and a half later, I realized, you know what? I'm an adult, second child on the way. I have time to kill. I'm going to do something I've never done before, I always wanted to do. I'm going to look for martial arts to get involved with. So I started shopping around. And I found out very quickly, just like in my childhood, that I couldn't afford martial arts either. So I joined a gym. I moved back to South City. I joined this gym, Physique Magnifique. And on their list of classes on Saturdays, they had Filipino martial arts. And I had just seen a show on, what was it, Human Weapon?
Mm-hmm.
Where they
That
had
was a good episode.
That was a great episode. They were showing the torque and the mechanics. They were doing like 3D models, and I was like, "Oh, that's so cool!" And here comes Filipino martial arts, and I meet this old man. And actually, one of the students that just started with us, he started with me that day too. He didn't continue, but after that first class, man, I was hooked. I came every single Saturday, stayed for the second class, and yeah, hasn't really stopped. I mean,
Well, I will say this. First off, great shirt. Dude, I love that shirt. What's the back?
Shameless plug,
What's
folks.
the back look like?
This red bag.
Oh, wow. I bet you that's a kick-ass martial arts club.
He called us last night and told us to wear the shirts, or he would not be here today.
Full disclosure, I didn't know they were going to wear them.
Lie.
he's wearing his underneath.
Yes.
And I thank you for the support.
I got to show off. There we go. It's there.
Yeah.
By the way, if you ever to buy a shirt through me, a portion of the proceeds go to Tunnel to Towers organization, which supports disabled, and I'm sorry, not disabled, but veterans and law enforcement who died in the line of duty. They help pay off mortgages and stuff.
If that's not enough of a reason to buy a shirt, people.
Yeah. So that was a shameless plug for the Tunnels to Tower organization.
Yes.
Back to what we were saying now. Harley Davidson owners and martial artists never need therapy. You ever see that?
No.
People I know who have Harleys, they never go to therapy. They just go for a ride. And you know what? I used to ride when I was younger, much younger man, and they're absolutely correct. And the martial arts is the same thing. So I'm glad you found the arts.
No, you make a great point, because I'd have some really just messed up days, and he'll tell you, and I'd just be like, hey, can we train? Can we just train? And then 2 hours later, I forgot why I was even upset.
Yep.
I didn't remember, or it didn't really matter anymore. I just felt relieved, and just the pressure's off. And it is really, for me, the best vehicle I found to decompress and just be a better version of myself.
Well, it's interesting. I think we'd probably share a jail cell if we didn't find the martial arts. I'll be honest with you. Same thing coming up,
I agree on
there
that.
was a very dark period of time in my life from about 15 till about 26.
I thought he was going to say for like 15 or 26 years.
Well, but it was a bad period of time, and
Yeah.
The thing that kept me sane was the arts. There was always something positive to focus on. I felt empowered by training. I'm assuming you probably did the same thing.
Oh, definitely.
But it's interesting. One of the things I find with people like yourself and Rick, and I'll put myself in that category, is that we want to give it back, not for the glory or for the money, but to help somebody to kind of grow outside of whatever construct they find themselves
Now,
in.
let me ask you something, Nine, since based on what he just said, do you feel you're able to give back in that sense? You know, because I know you've been training for like almost 9 years. I have you teaching classes and stuff like that. Do you feel is that your way? Because we've done these shows called Conversation, and we do an episode there, your shorts. Do you think that's your way of giving back, or how did that all come about when we were talking about the Nain short stuff?
Well, the Nain short started because you have this really annoying habit of just coming up to the beginning of a class and saying, "Teach me something." I'm like, what do you want me to teach you? Something I haven't seen before. But I'm here to learn from you. What the hell are you doing? So it's very nerve-wracking, but eventually you somehow helped me figure out that it wasn't really about teaching anyone anything as much as it was just sharing what I understand and whether or not I can even give that to somebody so they can understand to their degree, to their level. And to see that in another person, to see an aha moment, I don't think that I'm really there to do something for them as much as I just enjoy seeing that moment where somebody realizes something and it changes completely the way they go about doing what they do. Yeah. And to me, that's the reward. Like, and I don't know if I've made a positive or a negative in their life. I just know that something changed from the moment we started talking to the moment that we ended that conversation. Something is different, and seeing that difference, I don't know, just it's fun. Yeah, it's
so
interesting.
I want to clarify, for instance, we are on camera, so I keep forgetting it's not just us talking. So, my comment about,
That's the point.
teaching for money, that's not a bad comment. God bless all you who have schools and dojos out there. Because
who can make it work? Oh my God, yeah.
Exactly, right? God bless you for doing that, because that one, you're creating a lifestyle for yourself, which I only envy. Secondly, is that you're also keeping it alive for others who find you. My comment was at 58, I have a couple trainees. I'm going to pick hopefully a couple more up next year, but it's about just passing on what I've learned thus far. Sure. So to that point, for you, beginning, intermediate, and seasoned martial artist, give me what was the pivotal points in each one of those phases for you with your training.
So as a beginning martial artist, I had to come to grips with a lot of differences of what I thought I knew about martial arts, because everything I knew up until then was Hollywood related and TV, and finding out, wait, we can't do any of those things. What the hell am I training this for? Like, I can't do a double backflip. Like, come on, man.
When I found out big time wrestling was staged, my whole world collapsed for 6 months.
What? But it was interesting to see that difference of, okay, this is the effort and this is what you get out of it. This was staged and just a complete fiction, but it looks cool. And to have that difference and being able to kind of swim in that difference was really eye-opening, but it was exciting because it was new. Then when I got to intermediate, all my past insecurities were kind of not dealt with, but weren't as prevalent as they were at the beginning. I would be boastful to hide my insecurities. Then intermediate martial artist, I started to become arrogant because of my abilities.
Oh, I remember those days.
So I walked around not with a chip on my shoulder, but with an inflated
boulder, dude. You wanted a fucking chip. Goddamn boulder. I had to slap that shit out of you. Come on.
Well, part of that I blame you guys, because you taught me in such a way. Danny and you taught me something so different. And when I started getting exposed to other martial arts and the way they taught, I'm like, why the hell are they teaching that way? That just seems dumb. And again, no offense. It's just me being arrogant at that time and not understanding the history behind things and the reasons behind things, and just, okay, I was taught this way and they're teaching you this way. And I'm not the only one, though. I've come across so many other schools and thought processes where it's like, oh, we're the best. This is it. This is the shit. And nothing else outside of it really matters or is anywhere near compared to it. And I started to feel that way about what I was doing until somebody beat the crap out of me.
You're welcome.
It was emotionally demoralizing. It really was. Like, there is the worst feeling to get slapped and then caressed within the same move while having your entire guard up.
No, I agree. I agree.
And it hurt so bad, and my ego was so sore, but the great thing about it is that I was able to realize, oh, this is the difference between believing you know some shit
And knowing.
that you don't know shit. Because it seems like it's a very like tightrope and a very narrow margin of difference between the two. And because of that humbling experience, I was able to move on to, I guess you can say I'm an advanced student.
No, you're seasoned.
Seasoned, thank you. That's a great way of putting it. I've done it. I've got my bumps. I got my bruises. I'm still going. As far as I'm concerned, I have a renewed white belt mentality, and this is where all the real learning happens.
So you just recently got recognized by the Ordinance Kajikempo Ohana at what rank?
As a guru.
Right. So tapping into where we just came from, how do you feel about that?
I'm incredibly honored. I really am, and shocked beyond belief, because it wasn't something that I was working towards. It wasn't something that I tried to obtain. I'm still not 100% sure how that recognition came about, and I'm very thankful to the organization for it. But it's actually really cool to have somebody who actually saw something within me. What that is, I don't know, but enough to say, we want to back you. I'm like, holy, I mean, that made me that much more humble, and actually better understand why some people do get lost in the glory of titles, because it does mean a lot. There is a lot behind it, and something I didn't see before, and now I realize, okay, there's a legitimacy.
I think even more so when it's bestowed upon you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, when you're not searching for it and it comes along and somebody says, no, you qualify for this and you are this, it's so much more, than just, when you get it from a school and you work for it that way. But when somebody recognizes you on your own merit of what they see and hear about you, I mean, it's that much more special.
It is, but it's also a lot more daunting, because it's like, oh, now I have to actually watch what I say. I have to be more aware. I can't just be that asshole that just talks shit on the side. Like, I actually have to kind of carry myself, because somebody was willing to put their name.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember. I don't know if this is an actual direct quote from. I think Spider-Man said it. Is with great success comes responsibility.
Great power.
Great power.
Yeah.
So with that, to that point, just like on the front of my shirt there, you see it says salute, rank, and bow to knowledge. We talked about this over the years that.
I like that.
Rank is something that I've never paid much attention to. Now, candidly, when I was younger, I chased the black belt like most martial artists do. But as I gotten older, 58 years. And I've been around the martial arts a long time. I noticed that rank is something that it's bestowed upon you. Yeah, you can chase it, and and then by right, because you're going to a recognized school that you're paying dues on and you're training, you should expect a certain ranking at some point. But in the grander scheme, when rank is presented to you, I remember when I got my rank from Grandmaster Harry Green, who I'm a chief instructor under. It was completely blindsiding. I was not expecting it. Now, I share that with you not about me, but from the point of you never know where you truly are. And I think most martial artists who train for a long period of time really know where they are, until they get that rank that's bestowed upon them from somebody else. So congratulations to you.
Well, thank you. And just to kind of piggy off that point, I honestly don't know if I know where I am as a martial artist. I'm grateful for the ranking, and I want to honor the ranking by carrying myself the way that I do, and continue to carry myself the way that I do. But as far as a practitioner, I don't know. I have lofty dreams, I guess.
Well, I think there's a conflation there, because I think you got the rank because of the way you carried yourself. So just keep doing that. Now, going forward, just be the martial artist that you are. My personal opinion, mind you.
I like that.
The other part of it too, and folks, you have to understand, Naeem isn't doing just one system, and I don't think he's recognized just for the one thing. Because of our show, called Conversation, big major plug, and your shorts, and the people that you've gotten to play with in all of those things, would with the demo parts of our show, I mean, you get to play with these big names and, you know, all these grandmasters who come in and show their stuff, and you get to actually just play and adapt with them.
Well, I think I'm just a masochist, really.
Yeah, I think a lot of that lends to the idea that, wow, this guy actually knows what he's doing. He isn't just flopping around when these people show him stuff. And you actually have valid questions for them when you are being tossed around, and you look at what they're saying, and you throw it back in such a way as an inquisitive thing that, oh, is that this and that? And they're like, yeah, you got it. So I think a lot of that lends to the idea that when people see you, they see this really good guy who understands what's being shown and given to him. And I think, you know, although in our system we don't have ranking, if we were to, yeah, I would definitely give you, you know, all your props, because I think you are that talented. Lately I've always started saying that you're really not just my student, but you're also my equal in the things that you do and show. So, you know, all of that stuff is well earned. I mean, you really deserve what you're getting. So.
You know, I try to ignore it when you say it, though. Well, it's a little daunting because
It's overwhelming, isn't it?
it really is. Because, and I guess this goes to your point of just kind of being me, is that when I'm in those moments, when somebody's showing me something, I'm not concerned about the camera all that much. I'm not really trying to prove anything. I'm really just there in awe of what this individual is willing to share with me. And then I have genuine questions. It's never about, oh, here, let's promote this or let's push this agenda. It's like, okay, wait, so does that mean it means this, or is it because of that? And I just genuinely want to know. I'm very inquisitive. I feel like a child, just learning from people as much as I possibly can. And I've always felt that way. I mean, all my friends are your guys' age. Like, I don't have many friends my age.
You know, I'm glad that you say that, because that brings up something from when you first started. You were about, what, 25 years old?
No, I was 27.
27, okay. So
28.
you're at that age where you're a grown-ass adult, and you're no longer this kid going into a candy store learning, ooh, ahs, you know, right? You actually had some, you know, years behind you. You had an adult, 8-year-old kid at the time?
No,
I
a
guess?
4-year-old kid and a newborn.
And then a newborn, right?
Yeah.
So here it is. You had to be mature, you know, or supposedly. Allegedly you were mature.
We were mature age.
Yeah, right? But that's my point, though. When you came into our store, you know, into our doors, and you were always very eager to learn. You never just sat on your ass and just waited for me to give you stuff. You were always inquisitive. You know, I remember at the time your Shannon, ex-wife, would say, this asshole is in the shower doing this shit, you know.
Oh, yeah!
Right? Or in the bed, you know, and doing, you know, so, and that told me that, you
I saw
know.
that on the video once.
Right? I mean, you were doing these things that really, for me as an instructor, to hear that was very cool, because I understood that, oh, wow, this guy's really eager to learn and is practicing at home, in the shower, on the bed, blah, blah, blah.
In my sleep. I
In your
actually
sleep,
was
right.
doing Periplay Strat in my sleep.
You know, so that in itself told me a lot about you, that you are this kid who is a go-getter and wants to really grow. And as the years went on and we started talking to other people, not even in our own system, but you were wanting to learn what they were talking about and understand what their mechanics and their ideas behind what they were doing. And now, what did I do? I said, fucking go somewhere else and learn something else.
Kaju.
Yeah, and let's talk about that now. So what's going on with that?
Island Style Kaju Kempo. GM Bob Gomez, shout out to you. Great instructor. He's...
What? Oh, you were saying that about me, asshole. Go ahead.
a great teacher. Bob Gomez, and like somebody who wants the damn limelight. I don't want any titles, but he's going to chime in every single
I don't want any time, Rick.
Hey, what about me?
Sorry, Bobby.
GM Bob is... I love his mentality in the sense that he is not willing to let tradition keep him from pushing a student forward. He definitely has a strong mentality of getting the individual to progress and not getting the arts to be promoted. Like those are two very different mindsets, and because of that, I love training with him, and also because he's the closest guy to me. Folks, money's always been an issue, and I would love to take an entire weekend and go to San Diego and train with that dude that trains Marines, or go to Reno.
That dude, what's that dude's name, you jackass?
Well, we're not
He's an
supposed to
awesome
tell
guy. I don't
No, I
care.
know he's-
Bring out his name, goddamn. What's his name?
I think his name,
Yeah.
Nick
Nick.
Moreno. Yeah,
Nick
that's
Yeah, that guy.
my senior under Grandmaster Green. Yeah, Nick Moreno.
Nick Moreno, I would love to go up to Reno and learn how to make weapons and train in some of the Asian arts. I mean, there's so
John
many
Atkinson,
people.
that guy.
Yeah, John Atkinson, Wolf's Den Armory.
Let's plug these people,
Yeah,
goddamn.
fine,
Well,
whatever.
if
But
I-
the point is that I would love to do that, but unfortunately, well, no, I guess that's. I won't say that. Sorry, let me take that back. Not unfortunately, but I do have responsibilities as a parent, and I feel terrible skipping out on them. So I try to fill in the little time that I have available to myself with as much training as I can. Bob Gomez fit the bill in both scheduling as well as proximity. So a lot of that does have an effect on who I can and can't train with, but it's been nearly 9 years and I'm just as eager and excited to train and learn. So hopefully in my older years, when my kids no longer need me as much, that I'm still the same way, and I'm just going to be loose foot everywhere, training with as many people as I can.
That's the Bob Gomez story for you, which I love. GM Bob, thank you. So when I got my chief instructorship, Grandmaster Green says you got to start teaching. Now Grandmaster Green lives an hour and a half, 3 hour round trip from where I am. And I'm like, okay, where am I going to teach? So Grandmaster Bob and I were talking. He goes, "Hey, do you think you want to teach Grandmaster Green stuff out of my dojo?" And I said, "Well, we run it by the old man," and he's like, "Absolutely." Bob's an affiliate school of one-on-one Filipino martial arts. But so I'm there on Mondays. I'm doing my thing, working with his group, good group of folks. And then I had to depart because an opportunity both in work and going for my master's came up, and I'm like, and
Life
Bob,
got in the way.
Life,
yeah,
yeah.
life got in the
getting
way.
in the way.
And I went to Bob, Grandmaster Bob, and I said, "Hey, listen, I hate to do this to you, but here's what's going on." I said, I can, I asked Rick and them to come and see if they would backfill. Remember that?
Yep.
So that was about 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So, but in the course of the time that I was there, he asked about my Kaji Kempo training. And I said, well, because I hold 3 ranks. I hold rank in the House of Rana Stellar, which is a first degree black belt in Kaji Kempo. I hold the rank of 3rd degree Sifu in the House of Bob Gomez, which is on style Kaji Kempo. And I hold the rank of chief instructor in the House of Green, which is one Filipino martial arts. So to the point about being respectful, like I tell my kids, when you leave this house, you're a representative of this family.
Right.
And I see that in you with the martial arts. Whatever house you're a part of, you always represent well. So back to
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So I was with Bob, and he's like, "So what's going on with your Kaji?" So I really haven't trained much because I just haven't had time. So he goes, "Why don't you train with us while we're here?" So but I'm there anyway, right? Lo and behold, COVID hits, and all of a sudden, somewhere in I think it was 2020, I think, I get in the mail a certificate for a 3rd degree Sifu.
Nice.
And I call him. He goes, dude. He goes, listen. He goes, I know your skill set. He goes, I've seen you work. He goes, you know the stuff. You teach it. He goes, and I talked to Grandmaster Bill Gifford and Grandmaster Bill Sills, and they're both in agreement, and they signed off. This is the type of people you want in your corner.
Right.
I didn't,
definitely.
and I want to be clear, I didn't ask for the rank, but somebody who's looking out, and I think we have to do that as martial artists more.
Yeah.
You see that, you should be proactive, so sir, thank you for that. But the point I'm making with that story is that's the tribe that you need to find for yourself. And since we're giving plugs, Mike Cardenas, Collaborative.
No,
I love it.
And he beat me to it because I was with Mike. Cesar Johnny Oliva is
Yep.
also a great contributor to the arts and to my personal growth because he was one of the people that talked to this guy and was like, "Hey, so what rank is he?" I was like, "Well, he doesn't have a rank. We don't have ranks in our system." He's like, "What happens when you guys die?"
Exactly. I remember that conversation.
Yeah, and so he brought that up, and I actually do have a black belt through the Bladed Mind, through Cesar Johnny Oliva,
Twin Dragons.
Twin Dragons Kung
San
Fu
Carlos.
Academy, San Carlos. So check him out. He really is an awesome
We
guy.
gotta plug
Dude,
everybody with.
on Facebook, if you look him up, all he has is training videos or recently little videos of gifts. Like that knife was, dude. Did you see
Dude, I
that?
did.
That was beautiful. Oh my god,
Johnny,
my
my address.
Might have to come see you for Christmas.
Can we just pick anything off the wall?
But-
he would give it to you.
Oh, I know.
No,
He's
bullshit.
that
That's the
guy.
kind of guy he is.
No, he is. Like
Yeah.
when we first met him, he was like, karambit, karambit, karambit. I was like, oh, yeah.
Dude, I got a nice machete, a saw blade
Oh,
machete.
that's right. You didn't give me that.
So little, I hate to break off,
No,
but
no,
a little
go.
side thing about Cijo Johnny Oliva. Beautiful person, beautiful man. Thank you very much. I was at your promotion.
Oh, yeah.
And he had a Wing Chun dummy at the front of the. I think it was a Wing Chun dummy at the front of the mat, but he had it like this 4x4 plate bolted in, and it slides in and out, so it's interchangeable. And I said, "Man, this is great." I go, "What did this run you?" I got this idea running through my head. He goes, "Well, what's your idea?" And I told him, he's like, "I'll build you one," and he built me one. And delivered it to the house, and I'm
Wow.
just like. My God, this is
Yeah.
the type of community you want in the martial arts, and and again, nothing negative against anybody else. It's just
No.
it's like we're all here, but there's some folks like the Johnny Olivas and them, they're up here. We're not up here in like a ranking, but they do it differently.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we'll
It's
be clear
funny,
about
his
that.
business card is a freaking karambit.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
He told us that story, like, what?
but I don't want to take us off track.
No.
I have a tendency to do that. But having this discussion. So, what have you realized about yourself as a martial artist since starting Cali Conversation and going through this journey up to date, with all the interactions you have with all these people that we speak of?
The first realization, and one of the hardest, I think, that I had to come to terms with is that I'm worth the effort I've put into myself.
There you go. There.
Which was a very, very hard notion for me to understand. It took a good 3 years of working my ass off to finally be able to receive and not feel completely uncomfortable some sort of positive recognition. Like, I'm okay with being told you're doing that wrong. I'm okay with try doing this better or work harder at this. Like, I have no problem being told that. Like, that doesn't bother me. Negativity, I grew up in a negative household, so it's not something I'm uncomfortable
Sorry,
with.
Mom.
Sorry, it is
He's
what
just
it
being
is.
honest.
No comment.
I'm an immigrant from Mexico. I was the last one born
His
there.
back is still wet.
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry.
oh,
You know I have to do that, folks.
bastard.
He's my.
Yeah. No Home Depot jokes.
No, not today.
Not today.
The-
Oh, 'cause
the
you're being
wetback
nice?
is good.
The wetback's nice. Okay, yeah, that's right. Because I'm the guest today, so he's trying to be nice.
That's
And for those of you who come from such backgrounds, you know that we're not the most positive bunch. So getting positive reinforcement was very, very difficult for me to accept, but it was because of my views of myself. And actually, that's what started my martial arts journey, was the idea that if I'm trying to grow and better myself, I need guidance. And the guidance came in the form of a balding little Filipino man with a Hitler mustache.
the Hitler must.
I purposely do this. I'm not balding, goddammit. I shave.
And his older brother. And because of that, they become surrogate parents in that sense in my personal growth.
Oh wait, before you go on, let's really plug my older brother.
Well, yeah,
The guy
that's where I'm heading to
good
because
you know.
well, I mean, he made me feel at home. Danny Ramos, creator of the Bladed
Oh, yeah.
Mind, he made me feel at home because he didn't even know my name for the first 3 months. He kept calling me Ian. He really did. He called me Ian. He was so dead. I was like confident. I was like, I guess my fucking name's Ian now. I was like, all right. Like he was so confident about it that I just whatever. I'm Ian. Until eventually I realized maybe I should tell him what my real name is. But that made me feel comfortable because like, okay, cool. And I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly pushing, and I always messed up, and I always made mistakes. And I had no problem making
Lots
mistakes
and
because I
lots.
kept growing. And then one day they said something positive about me, and I just kept waiting. But what's the fix? Where's the problem? I couldn't get past it. I kept waiting for them to say something that was wrong with what I was doing, or something that was missing, or something
Right.
that needed to be corrected or done better. And that's where I kind of had that first steps into realizing that maybe I do need to look at myself a bit more positively. And now having other people doing it becomes that much more daunting because that's my background. My very low self-esteem, very negative outlook on myself, and all of a sudden I'm being recognized. And I'm not sure what to do with it, but I will do my best to honor it as best I possibly can.
Well, let me just offer this to you. Just keep doing what you're doing. You know, we affectionately call him the kid because
Yeah.
he's like 20 years our junior.
Yeah.
Literally like 23.
I'm 37.
Okay, maybe 21 now. But you were 23 years ago.
At one point.
But when you the few times I see you work a seminar, I like to walk around and listen. And ask questions. I would ask him, so how's the kid doing? It's like, oh, this is doing great, man. He's like, he's so comfortable up there. So whatever you're doing, keep doing. You're a natural in front of the net, and you're a natural at teaching. And there was a mother or somebody, you were teaching a girl or something at one of the seminars, and it was a girl, it wasn't a lady, it was a girl. And the mother was just gushing. She's like, he was so patient with her, and you know, I could tell by the way she was smiling. And that's what you do. So continue doing that forward. And since we're talking about forward, what's your plans for the next, at least 3 years with what you're doing?
Well, right now I'm working on my Kaju, and I'd like to get as high as I can there because I am starting to incorporate a lot of the concepts and ideas that I'm learning there into my martial arts, and that was by design. I'm expanding my pool of knowledge so I can then utilize what I know and start forming something for myself. I'm currently mentally working on a curriculum that maybe in 3-4 years I will start implementing with my own school. And nothing brick and mortar really as the ideal right now. Just start picking up my own students and starting from scratch, starting teaching them and knowing that I'm gonna mess up. Yeah, I hate you now. Well, I got everything I wanted from you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I have a few more things
I
I
used
must
you,
have given
abused you, and then I'm done. We have a very dysfunctional relationship, you and I. It's about to fall apart at one point.
Okay,
Yeah.
at some point.
Better that than us killing each other.
True.
Yeah. So.
Sure, I'll get the better end of the stick on that one, but okay.
Yeah,
I
I'm
get
not going to use a stick. I'm going to shoot you from across the street. Are you kidding me?
All right, we're going to change subjects now. I'm even getting uncomfortable here. So, Rick, as his kuya and teacher, what words do you have about Naeem?
Dude, I can't say enough about this
I'm sorry,
kid.
dude, chief instructor, please.
Oh,
Get it right.
chief instructor.
He's no longer a guy with a
Duarte.
black belt. Okay.
I had to
No,
get that
I have nothing but the utmost respect for this kid because when we first started, we were teaching an old traditional way, back, the way everybody else was teaching stuff. And Danny had changed our minds on it and said, no, you got to evolve these things and you got to, understand these things. And instead of teaching a class, we were teaching individuals. And this individual was really absorbing a lot of things that we did. So much so that his first 2 years got him that arrogance, because, I'm better than all the other guys because I'm the top student, blah, blah, blah. Once
To cut you off a little bit there, it also, because we started getting exposed to other FMA practitioners, and I was keeping up with people that were in it for like 8 or 10 years at 3 years, so it kind of gave me that boost in my
Well, yeah, and I can see how that happens,
wasn't-
but because of that,
Yeah.
and when we slapped the silly out of him and got him to think properly again, then he was again that brand new student who was now eager to learn even more because of what had happened. And for him to go from this arrogant little prick to become this respected, knowledgeable, articulate instructor, well, that was a big change.
Mm-hmm.
And how can you not be proud of that, realizing that you had to help in creating that? Me and Danny were in the beginning, this kid is okay, he's really eager, but look, he's getting really arrogant, he's starting to be a real, whatever. But once that changed, when he realized where he really was in the grand scheme of things, and he became responsible and started teaching everybody properly without the nose in the air stuff, it really changed him. And I think that's what everybody else is starting to see these days, is that they see this, wow, if you ever seen him in the beginning to where he is now, you would say, okay, big difference.
Yeah, most of you wouldn't like me.
Yeah, we have a student by the name of Eric who we were studying like 8 years ago or 7 years ago, and he recently came back and he says, yeah, dude, he's so different. I mean, it was that big of a night and day.